Welcome back. This is Sachin again, and in today's tutorial, we'll be talking about Spring Web Flux or the reactive programming using Spring Framework. So traditionally, how it is different. So let's consider a normal HTTP, which is hypertext transfer protocol, where it's a request response kind of model. Basically, you make a call and you get a response. So traditionally, what it does, once you make a call, basically the first URL connection needs to be stabilized, and then you make a request and get the data, and connection gets destabilized. So all good, but the problem here is like if you make multiple calls, basically every time you have to make a connection, and that makes inherently this process very slow. Unlike what we are going to use and showcase here is basically the Spring reactive programming, which behind the scene uses RSockets, which is very much similar to WebSockets, but it has a little better advantages compared to WebSockets. So here the connection optionally can be made constant, and all the communication can happen that channel, and that makes it the execution very fast. So let's get started, guys. So like my all tutorials, like DIY, you can do it yourself. Just follow the tutorial, and then you'll be able to execute these programs. In case you still face some issues, I'll be putting my GitHub link for these programs, and you can just check out and run as is. So start our Spring.io. Okay, let me change the group ID. Commerce session won't work. That's fine because that's what I prefer. Spring reactive example server. So I'm gonna create a server, and once I'm done with the server, I'll be creating the client. So just add the dependency. The first thing is like I want to add the Lombok because I'll be using some annotation. It comes very handy. And the only dependency you need is RSockets. Just add that. And one more dependency, and this is just a Spring Reactive Web, because when I run my program, I want this to hold and not just complete this. So it'll just start a web server, and I can make requests and get a response back. Okay, so let's get generate. All right. Yeah, let's downloads. Downloads. So how is that? Yep. Material source. Yeah. All right. So this is already there for my previous checkout, I guess. Let's open this. Slow in project. Yes, and just keep clicking next, and all set. This server. Okay. Source Java. Okay, somehow I don't like this package name, so let me change it a little bit. Refactor, rename, this one package. Okay, refactor. All right. So let's see the POM file. So basically, there are some dependencies you should be aware about, like RSockets, and this Web Flux, and Lombok. So these dependencies we have chosen while downloading that. Okay, so before actually jumping into reactive programming using Spring Web Flux, let's do the basic setup of the project so that the kind of request you want to make and the response you want to get back. So let's do a very basic setup. So I'm going to create another package. Let's give it a name package. So Java class. So I'll be making a request. I'm going to call it my request view, and it should be data using Lombok. So I get some, when I print this object, I get the information clean, and then dot constructor, all our constructors, and basically the only thing is just, let's say, private string name. So basically, it's just kind of a hello world program. You pass the name, and you just get a fancy string to greet this person, like hello XYZ. Okay, so this is my request. Let's create the response as well. My response view, and the response view, I'm gonna just call it let's message. All right, now let's create a service. Just gonna call it my service, and let's enter service. So it's while scanning, this bean is getting created for this, and public. So It should take the request and return the response. So type is like my response VO. So let's say greet, something like that, and then return my response. Then you should pass my request VO, and then the response should be VO dot get name, and it should be actually a proper message. So I'm going to say string format hello Mr. or Mrs. whatever um, stage s, and then let's also give a timestamp so we know what time it got printed. So new date dot Tuesday. So I'll get my date and time, and then we will get name. So far so good. So okay, so let's see whether it's working or not. Create a class my producer, or let's call it server. Okay, it should be a component, so it's a scan and beam gets created, and then public void, give some name, cute. All right, and event listener application ready. So when the application is ready, this will get called. So let's quickly check that. Coming to server. Okay, coming to server, and let's do one thing. Let's print the response as well. So for that, we need a private my service object here. My service, it should be my service. My service. Okay, I'm gonna call it producer, so just avoid that some confusion while typing. Server. Okay. So println this dot greet my request. I'm gonna call it my name. That's it. Okay. Java source. I think to change it for the file, but for now, let me change it here and wait on it. Interesting. Yeah. Sorry for this wallet. Yes. Okay, and why it got failed? Null pointer execute 29. Okay, I'm sorry. That should be auto-wired. Perfect. So basically, the basic set is done. So far, there is nothing, no reactive over here. And now we are going to convert it into the reactive server, which a client can call. So the service. So basically, instead of just sending a response, basically you can optionally choose to send a stream of response. So the client will call, and on the first call, once this receives, it can actually start sending the stream of information. So basically, that's where I'm going to use Flux. So instead of just sending a response, you can actually use the Flux, which is in the project reactor-core. Okay, and this response should also be a Flux response. And what we're going to do here is basically you can create a stream. So Flux dot from a stream, and then a stream dot generate, and which takes a lambda expression for the supplier, and then it should be returning this guy. Okay, it should we can use. So now, if to return. Perfect. So basically, now instead of just sending one response, basically you are sending a stream of response in this uh, in this method. So now how it changes over here. So this is not going to work. It is just because it's just not a normal object. It's a flux. So let's hold it into an object. It's a flux of my response. So let's uh, flux flux of my response. Let's import that. Give it a right meaningful name, flux. Response with flux. Perfect. And let's do one thing. Let's put it as out over here. So it's out coming to delete method just like that. And then I'm gonna print the get name. Okay. So ideally that should get printed. And then when I'm done, done with the server, server call. Okay. Perfect. Yes. So it is just executing what the call I've written over here. It's returning something. Actually, if you just print it, you will be expecting that it'll print the some kind of a stream, but it's not the case because this is just an object template. Until and unless you basically you have to subscribe to basically get that real-time information. If you just print this object, you just say call flux stream. So what I'm gonna do here is um, this dot subscribe, and then it will start getting all these elements. So because it's of type my response, um, the E will be of type my response. My response. Perfect. Now it looks good. And then run it. There's still a little problem. We'll quickly see that. Okay. All right. So we see it's like pumping a lot of information very fast. You see, it's like at 12 a.m. 49, 26, 27. It's too much information because this stream is like it's the thread is running continuously, and the only job is to uh, generate that message and push it out. And of course, it'll be very fast because CPU will be trying without any delay. So, but like for some meaningful, we want to see streams for like which is a little slower. So basically, you can introduce a little delay. I'm gonna close this one for now. Okay, and let's introduce some delay. So in this stream, you can say delay elements and the duration dot of seconds, and let's say um, um, 1, right? And actually, let me pass the delay over here. Int delay and then delay. Okay. So this is my service, and then you need to call a delay of 1 second. And sorry, not here. Create this comma one. Should be okay. All right, let's rerun this program. You see, this gets executed and this gets actually done with the server call. And then this stream is like it. Now this subscriber is active. It is continuously that method in the service is pushing each and every data with a delay of 1 second. And you see in all these calls, it is continuously putting there is a delay of 1 second, like clearly visible. So now this is just a standalone, but we need to convert it into some kind of a web request call. We can basically make a local host call to, let's say, localhost. I'm running my local and with some port. So let's write the controller task. my controller. I gave it just a name. And by the way, it's just normal controller, so there's nothing special about it. And you see the code is going to be very simple. So public um, um, flux of my response view. Um, um, secure, just give some name. Okay, okay. And then here, let's introduce private service, my service, and that's required this time. So that means created. And message mapping. Message mapping something which you need to use to give some whatever object, whatever the path. I'm giving it hello. And basically, we need my request view. Basically, you can also pass a delay. So let's add some delay over here. Delay. So this is view, and then destination variable and delay. Okay. And then desktop client service dot greet view and then delay. That's pretty much this is your server is created. Okay. All right, I'm gonna run that. So basically this time uh, let's don't print. This is just for showcase purpose that how Flux works, but I don't want to print it over here. So the idea is like when we create this server, we will be also creating a client, and then from client we will make a call to the server. So let's start that. Perfect. So this is started. My program is still running. But there's one thing missing. Actually, I need to tell the RSocket to get activated, and the only one thing you need to do is string.rsocket.server.port, because this was still putting 8080. So which means that RSocket is just normal web server, but we want an RSocket as well. So just give some port 7000 standard port for that, and let's rerun that application once again. Okay, now we see that this is started with 7000 ports. So our server is ready. And now we need to run the client. So let's follow the same process. This time it's your server. I'm just going to call it a client, and everything remains same. We don't need reactive web this time because we don't want to hold or run a server. This for showcase purpose standalone client to make a call and get the response back. So all looks good. Let's generate. Go to my downloads, unzip this guy, and let's import that. No, module downloads client. Okay, so this is my client in Java. Okay, I don't like this package name. I think why it is coming like this. Let's rename this package. Okay. All right. So by the way, this is a client, and because web server is not running, I need some way to basically sleep it so that my program does not it doesn't exit, and basically you can still see some communication. I'm just gonna call it like thread.sleep for let's say for a minute, 60,000, and I'm just saying to an exception and not handle it, but it's okay for demo purpose. Okay, same like last time, we're gonna create a class called client, um, and then annotate it with the component so that it's is getting created. Okay, and then public void execute starting client starting starting the client application out, client application done. Perfect. So let's see whether it is working or not. Okay, I need to annotate it, of course. Okay, before that, this client is here, change it to 11. Okay, I also need to add an event listener so that, when my application is ready, it should be invoked. So again, there's nothing reactive here so far. I'm just checking my standalone project is up and running, it's working as expected. And then we'll do how to make a call to in a reactive way. So client application is done. Perfect. All right. So now, first thing first is I need to create a bean for our socket requester. Our socket is give it a meaningful name, and then socket requester builder, and then basically you need to tell that connect to this host and port. So there is a TCP connect, and I'm gonna get a local host, and then the 7,000 port I am running that server. I'm gonna make it block call, and that's it. Just return that. So this bean is getting created, and that's what like your one-time connection is stabilized with that local host and 7,000 port. If your host is running in some other host or IP, just give that information to work perfectly fine. Okay, so to make a call, so our socket requisition name, private, let's get it as the bean. Sorry, I have to hit auto wire because you're resolving a dependency and not getting bean, unlike here. All right, so now here we need to make a call, but the problem is like to make a call, we need those two objects, the request and response, because we'll pass the data in that and get the response back. So basically these should be present in a class path. So very quick, what I'm gonna do here is I will copy those two classes over here, but ideally, usually it should be hierarchical project, and the dependent should be there, and then you just write the code one place and include that in the event. When it's the right way to do it for demo purpose, that should be okay. Okay, so the queue, the last, it should be public because there's only one class can be public, and similarly response as well. All right, okay, remove that. So now my classes are here. I'm gonna make a call. So our socket requester dot route. So remember that we have created controller this endpoint, the hello, and that's why we need to tell it like make a call to hello, and actually let me copy paste as is because I want to pass some information over here. Sorry, set. Okay, hello delay. And actually you need to tell what value of delay you want. So let's say in my case I want 2 or 3 or 5, whatever. So that way. And then data is like what data you want to send, new line. So you want to make a request this object because that's what the object this guy expects the request view. So I'm going to pass that new request view, and then Sachin underscore from client is giving a different name, so we know that from here we are calling. And then retrieve flux, because the difference between mono and flux is mono where you're just expecting one expects one information 0 or 1. In case of flux, it could be a finite or maybe infinite stream of data. It keeps coming. In case of we are returning flux over there, so let's put a flux. So you make a request with this one and you receive a flux, and your response type is going to be my response VO, and that's where you need to tell that this is your response. So if we just do that, it won't work because we have seen just if you write the flux, it won't work until and unless you subscribe it. So the last line is like, just do the subscribe, and basically the response you're going to use is my response view. You can see type P. Once you get that object, and let's response from server is basically E. All right, so hope it should work. So this is the only thing. If I just want to summarize, is just create a beam, and thus you just write a few lines of code, and it should be working fine. So let me run that. Oh yeah, it's not coming. I was like confused. It's not coming. Maybe because I gave a 3-second delay, and 12 and 15 and 18 and 21. So we have seen like you make a call and then continuous stream of data is being pushed from server to the client. So in case if you want just one information, you can put it in mono. So let me quickly do that. I'm closing this and let me go to controller and change from flux to mono. Okay, and then this is flux. We'll just also do mono. Okay, right. And now I don't need any string for this. So I will return this as a single object. Return dot what is that method? Just or empty. Okay, and let me see if all this correct. Okay, should be fine. Okay, we want mono. Hello, I'm just putting a mono so we know that we're getting mono response and not just this guy. Is that server starting as server? Okay. It is starting send port and took 3.8 seconds from the server, then the server call. So my server is up and running. Let me see my client side. This will fail because I'm expecting a flux. If I just quickly want to show you, because this time it is not flux, it is returning a mono. I expected there will be some exception. This is stream related. So instead of retrieve flux, just retrieve mono, right? And then response from server is this guy. I hope it should work this time. Perfect. So hello, mono Mr. Sachin from client. And you see there's no other data is coming. Definitely we have passed 3 seconds once this line is printed. So this is very basic um, uh, Spring Web Flux implementation with RSockets. So remember one thing we discussed about that when you make an HTTP call, it's the connection gets stabilized and then it makes a request and gets a response back and it's disconnected. And if we make another call, pretty much the same process gets repeated. Just this connection stabilizing thing, it makes the process very slow. And then there should be some kind of a benchmarking. We should see that, how slow, if you make, let's say, a couple of calls, 100 calls, 1,000 calls for HTTP versus this, what's the difference? What's the difference in time it comes? Okay, so let's quickly see that. So basically, let me go to my server controller. I don't need to give this delay, so I'm just getting rid of it, hello, and then there's no destination variable. I'm just clearing it off. There's no delay here, leave it. Agree, don't take any delay because it's just when you make a call, you get a response back. And of course, there's no delay. I hope this should be fine. It's on my server, not any error. Perfect. Okay, there's one thing is still missing. So I have endpoint for uh, the reactive way, basically, which returns a mono and the response view. but still we need which should return me a HTTP response so that we can do some kind of a comparison benchmarking. So I have already written this code. I don't want to waste too much time in video. So let me quickly copy paste this controller. So it's a sibling controller. I'm going to create my controller 2. Very simple. So remember the distinction. This should be a REST controller because it's a traditional Spring Boot uh, controller, and when we make a call, we just want to see some kind of a JSON object. So this will be called at endpoint at random, and this one. Okay. So let me go to my server. Hope it should get started without any error. Okay. Looks like it started. Let's see if it is working also. Okay, this is already saved. Okay, perfect. I can make a call. So my uh, normal REST call is also working. Now let's, for benchmarking, let's go to the find and execute this try. This benchmarking is for, um, I can copy this, the whole code. Okay, might execute. Let's get rid of it for now, right? And paste everything right here. Let's do some import. Okay, random. Perfect. So I'm going to comment it out so that this code will not get executed for now. This is related to the RSocket question, the one which we just saw. But let's see the traditional HTTP way of doing it. So now what here I'm going to do here, just execute normal. I'm making it 10,000 calls. It's just a normal consumer is starting. I have created REST template, and one by one I'm iterating and making call to localhost 8080 and random URL, the one which I just used it. And then once every 500 calls, I'm just printing the body, just see something is happening. And then once everything is done, I take the time taken and I'm just printing that HTTP benchmarking, how much is the time taken, how many milliseconds has been taken with how many calls, basically 10,000 calls. So this will tell me the total time taken to make 10,000 HTTP calls, right? Now, so here you see, once I created the REST template, and then I started this time capturing event. Similarly, I'm doing over here, your beam will stabilize the connection to localhost in 7,000 port. However, this logic, we will start begin here as soon as the method starts. And because this is an asynchronous in nature, and so basically if I write something down, the person will or control will immediately come here, however will not come to know when the data is coming. So what I have done, similarly, every 500 I'm printing something so I know something is happening. However, this if condition is important, which tells when you get the last bit. So basically n is 10,000, I'm iterating I from 0 to 9,999, and every 0th and uh, 500 I'm printing all these objects. But when the last data has come, when j value is 9,999, and that's the time I'm calculating how much uh, what is the current time when you get the last bit of information, and putting RSocket benchmarking and how much time it took. So let's run. I have commented this out so that it doesn't execute, and we just see the benchmarking for HTTP. So let me run that. All right, so we see that it's making 500 calls very fast. Impressive. So it took 8,158 milliseconds, which is a little more than 8 seconds. Fair enough for 10,000 calls. And this time I'm gonna open this one and comment out the REST call. So we don't want to make a REST call this time. We just do the pure benchmarking for the requester. Um, and we see it is completed even less than half of the time what we completed with HTTP. But my observation when I have done it like a couple of times in past, the difference is even faster. Like I would say 1, 2, 3, or 4 times. At least this is 4 times faster. I don't know if I redone it once again, probably could be a little faster. Let's see. Yeah, so basically it varies a little bit. That's what my observation is. So most of the time it is at least 4 times faster. So basically, yeah, that's pretty much for today's session. I hope you guys have learned something and enjoyed it, as because at least I did when I learned it, and I was also very much surprised to see the benchmarking. And one last thing, like whenever we are doing a microservice communication, it is good to basically use this RSockets and using a Spring Reactive framework rather than plain HTTP call, because we see it's very fast. All right. Uh, Thanks everyone for your patience and watching my video till last. Appreciate it. If you like it, please share with your friends and give me a thumbs up. Thank you.